What's up my nerd friends? So Tourdog has released the unit details for Hedy, Cordy, and also Hachi&Gin. I must say, this banner is kinda underwhelming. And it is a good thing, and I'm gonna tell you why. First thing first, if you are unfamiliar with Tokyo Game Show, Tourdog actually released teasers for the upcoming units. And so far, a lot of unit has been revealed already. But of course, the reason I'm skipping this banner will not make sense if I don't show you the units. So first, I'm gonna show you Hachi&Gin. So Hachi&Gin is a thunder sniper. His ability Perfect Heist, able to select a traversable tile which summons Gint to determine the directions, and throw one grenade which bounds to the furthest distance possible in Gint's selected directions. The grenade deals 200% damage to enemies it passes along the way. Gint can be made to face diagonal directions. So before I explain what the active skill do, we're gonna look at the equipment first because this is very important for his kit. Accomplice. For each cluster grenade travel before active skill does damage, final damage increased by 15%. For each cluster grenade travel before chain combo deal damage, final damage increased by 7.5%. So basically the premise of this ability is the further away you are from the enemy, the more damage you will do. And the final damage increase is actually multiplicative. So actually the more tile you travel, the more increase it actually is. So you really want to maximize the number of tiles away you from the enemies. And the active skill able to select a position is actually quite good to maximize the damage. Let's say the enemy is on the edges of the map, no matter where, as long as he is touching the edge, you should be able to maximize the damage of the active skill. But when it comes to the chain combo, so that chain combo, throw a grenade at the nearest one enemy and then another enemy nearest to them, dealing a little bit of damage. It's not really high, but when you add up all the tile travels, it actually adds up to quite high damage. Overall, I think this unit is okay as like a budget unit for Calamity Codex, but it's not exactly very strong or anything. Again, only doing damage is not something we need right now, and they are very easy to be replaced by other units if all they do is damage, like I always said. And then next we have Cordy. So Cordy is a fire detonator, and her active skill do 200% damage to one enemy within one surrounding cluster. When attacking the same enemy for first 2 times, stun is inflicted for 1 round each time. Active skill damage increased based on the number of tile occupied by the target. So this is a 1 cooldown stun abilities that is very small in terms of range, but I do think this is very useful actually. So far, there's only 2 units in the game that can stun. We have Eve, which has 4 cooldowns and does have preemptive strike, but 4 cooldown is a long time for a stun. And then we have Barbara, which is actually 5 cooldowns. So having a low cooldown stunner is definitely quite interesting. And the stun only works for the first 2 times, however. So after you're able to stun the enemy 2 times, the stun will never work anymore and you just have a detonator that can do decent damage. That is pretty much it. But I do think her kit is pretty strong, especially for cheesing certain stages like the Elysium coagulation. Having Cordy does make things pretty easy. Just able to stun the boss, and then I mean a lot of the time these kind of stages you just need to stun a couple times and you will be able to beat it. I have really high hope for Cordy. Honestly, I think Cordy is a good unit. It's really nice to have, and I'm not sure what her breakthrough is. Probably not something about the cooldowns. I will be surprised if it is. I'm guessing maybe the breakthrough is the last line, which is the active skill deal damage based on the tiles of enemies. And maybe the max breakthrough is the another times or the first 2 times line. So maybe without breakthrough he only can stun one time maximum. All in all, I do think Cordy is quite good, but she's not really like a really flexible unit. She's very specifically used to counter stage that requires stuns, and that's it. But it's a good unit. And for her chain combo, pretty standard. You have 1 surrounding cluster on 2 chain, 8 chain which is the diamond shape, and then 11 chain which is the radial. All in all, it's okay. I mean, not the 2 cluster which is the best one, but you pretty much use Cordy for the stun anyway. It's not a big deal. And then you have the equipment for every 1 enemy within 2 surrounding cluster, attack and defense increased by 5%. It's okay. It's one of the better self-buff equipment I've seen. And it's actually very easy to have a lot of enemies surrounding you, because enemy will walk close to you to attack you most of the time. So yeah, it's okay. All in all, I actually hope I get Cordy in the next banner with my guarantee 5 stars. But about the 6 stars, however, Hedy is a forest converter, and she's basically a forest Colleen. Exactly the same ability, although doing a little bit less damage. Teleport to a selected location, do 250% damage to 1 column, knock back the enemies, convert tiles in the area of attack to green. So yeah, you teleport, you convert the tiles. It was pretty strong. Yeah, I gotta applaud Tourdog for not power creeping units, because this is the prime example for not power creeping. But man, I won't lie, I am a little bit disappointed. So forest is quite a strong element right now, and I am having hard time to imagine how Hedy is going to help in a significant way. She is okay if you are willing to go to the maximum breakthrough, following Colleen breakthrough. So you don't know, Colleen should be breakthrough 3, getting the cooldown reduction. So her original cooldown should be 4, and then the max breakthrough should be the preemptive strike. Again, preemptive strike is pretty important for these type of units where you can convert a lot of tiles. So yeah, I'm not too sure how I can rate this unit, because having the max breakthrough is like really good, and then no breakthrough is like, okay, I have to wait 4 turns to use this ability. But let's look at his equipment and chain combo first. So for his chain combo, you have 4 and 9 and 13 chain, and at the max chain you do have 2 clusters, which is the detonator chain. 2 cluster, very low damage though, 130%. And then you have like the extra line, which is the 20% additional damage for the 8 inner cluster, so your 1 cluster range. So it's 150% damage for the short range one. Yeah, it's okay. It's standard chain combo. It doesn't really do anything too special. You have like the additional thing, but it's already kind of bad because the original attack value is low already. In fact, even with the additional damage, it's still lower than most detonator with 2 surrounded clusters. So I won't say she is bad, but she is worse compared to other detonator style characters. And then her equipment, I think this is probably the most confusing one for most people. When using chain combo and active skill, Hedy attack is substitute with Pompeii attack. Pompeii attack is equal to 120% of Hedy attack. During Aurora time, Pompeii attack increased by 2% with every tile connections up to maximum of 30%. So basically, when you're using chain combo and active skill, you have higher attack. So when you are using auto attack, you are using this 2900 attack stats, and when you are using chain combo and active skill, you are using like 3500-ish attack as your attack stats. And then also there's another thing, during Aurora time, you have another damage increase for every tile you use. This is actually quite a difficult line to utilize because it's during Aurora time, not the 15 tiles that proc the Aurora time. After you get Aurora time, usually you have not much tile left to use anyway. So it's really hard to utilize this line, and even you get to utilize it, it's only 30% anyway. I'm not saying it's bad, but it's a conditional one, and it's also not like super broken. I don't know. Basically, equipment it's actually one of the really good one, because at worst you just have really high attack stats for using your chain combo and active skill. But other than that, doesn't really have much to say about this character. It's not doing anything too unique. Equipment just say I do more damage, and your game plan has not changed. You just connect more tiles. It's very simple units, and we are already familiar with this ability as well, which is the Colleen abilities. I am not very convinced because there is a lot of good teleporter in Forest already. We have Megart and we have Naroxel, and we also have one of the underrated one, Wendy. There's so many teleporter in Forest, and then you bring in Hedy that probably need max breakthrough to get preemptive strike. I don't know. Like, to me, Colleen was not really good either way. Like at launch, she was really good because there's not a lot of people don't have a lot of unit yet, and Colleen at that time was fantastic, right? But now people have been more unit built. This type of characters that if you cannot get max breakthrough, is probably just going to get replaced by like a random converter or a preemptive teleporter. So all in all, I would skip this because the next thing I'm going to talk about, the next banner. So of course I don't have the details of the next banner, but from the TGS we do know the next banner will be featuring these 2 units, and judging on the pattern I discussed in the last video, the next banner will be featuring 2 6 stars. So one of the 6 stars is Bethlehem, which we really excited for. She is probably the best converter for water element for a long time. So this is in closed beta. It could change obviously. She could get nerfed, but if she doesn't get nerfed, here is what she do. She is able to select 4 tiles and change it to water tiles. Any 4 tiles, and she has 3 cooldown. At breakthrough 3 she gets preemptive strike. At breakthrough 6 she is able to select 5 tiles to become water tiles. So if you're familiar with Hero, you probably understand how strong this ability is, and it is very strong. So most people will probably need 2 copies of Bethlehem on the next banner, but we have this Husbando unit that is 6 star. We don't know any info yet, and this unit can be really strong. And if you summon on Hedy already, you might not have funds to summon for both Bethlehem and this 6 star unit. And because how meh Hedy is, I would suggest you don't summon for Hedy, so you can prepare for new members for next banner, which is Bethlehem and also this random 6 stars. But of course, if you like the units and you have extra cash to support Tourdog, definitely summon. I mean, just do it, just do whatever you want. But I'm just giving my advice as a free-to-play player. You probably should save for the next banner. Don't say I did not warn you. Anyway, I'll probably post the in-depth analysis for Hedy and Cordy and also Hachi&Gin after they actually releases. So do keep an eye for that. And hey, subscribe if you want more Alchemy Stars content. That's it for me today. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.